Good morning, church. It's really good to get another chance to come and talk to you. Life is getting slightly harder now that the lockdown has increased and rules are getting stricter, and I hope you are all still keeping your spirits up and keeping well. One of the people I'm missing most, I don't know if I've ever talked to you about her before, is my best friend in Cardiff, Hannah. Hannah and I met at sixth form. I moved schools for sixth form, and in my previous school I didn't have any Christian friends, and Hannah was a Christian friend and we got on very, very well. You may find it hard to believe, but in our friendship I was the one saying to her, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" And every time I had a good idea, she just went along with it. It was fantastic. She was the person who took me to Malawi for the first time. She heard that somebody in a university that she didn't know had been there and seen a great need, so she decided to go back with them the next year with a group of people she didn't know, and go and travel around the country and do what good she could, which I thought was an awful idea to begin with. And she dragged me into it. When I said to her, right, we're going to take over the Christian Union, she was all for it. When we took over the youth work, she was all for it. No matter what the challenge was, she was always up for it, and still is. And I've always cherished having that Christian friend. In the 3rd chapter of Daniel, we see a group of 3 friends, Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, and they are living in a time when King Nebuchadnezzar is very proud of his power. He has a huge big statue built, and he orders everybody in the country of all nations and of all tongues, when you hear the music, you must bow down to this statue and worship. And of course his astronomers and diviners come running to him and say, "King Nebuchadnezzar, do you know that there are Jews that you have set up in powerful positions who are not listening to you, who are not doing what you say?" And he has Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego brought forward because they've not been bowing down, and he says to them, "You must bow down." And they say, "No." And he says, "If you don't bow down, I'm going to throw you into the furnace." And they say, "Look, King Nebuchadnezzar, we serve one God. And if you throw us into that furnace, we know that our God has the power to save us. And even if he doesn't save us, you need to know that we will never worship your gods and we will never bow down to your statue." And of course King Nebuchadnezzar is furious, and he has the furnace heated up 7 times hotter, and he has them tied and bound as they are, and the soldiers go and take them and throw them into the furnace, and it is so hot that the soldiers get burnt. And the king looks into the furnace, and there in the furnace are 4 people, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and an angel of God who's come and joined them in the flames. And when he sees that, and he sees that they are walking around in the fire not burnt up, he calls them out, and they don't even smell of smoke. And he says, "Your God is the true God." And he tells everybody that they have to worship that God. And it made me wonder this morning, how would Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego have reacted if they didn't have each other? If they were there all alone in that situation, would they still have had the courage to keep going, to keep serving? Would they have got disheartened? Would they have run away? Would they have hidden? Would they have tried to come up with an excuse? In our time of isolation, it's hard. We miss each other. We really miss seeing each other in that community. But it is vitally important at times that are difficult that we do rely on each other. There are so many verses in the Bible that say, "Wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, there am I in the midst." And we may not be able to gather in person in the same room, but we can still gather together. We can still share what is on our hearts and what God is doing in our lives. We can phone each other and let each other know. It says in Philippians chapter 2 that we need to be united in one spirit. And it's when we're united that we are most powerful. So my thought from Daniel chapter 3 is, even though we can't see each other, let's keep being community. Let's keep in touch, and let's keep sharing our life of faith. When we ask each other how we're doing, let's not forget to ask, how are you doing with God? And sometimes it's going to be a really hard day and we're going to struggle, and other days we're going to be strong. But because we're in it together, we can lift each other up. and keep each other going. Well, I hope you do have another nice day and the weather stays bright and your gardens are blooming and you get a chance to be outside and enjoying it, even if it is just in the confines of your garden. Much love to you all and God bless you, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!